Ghost, Aliens, and Beyond.
Hi all and welcome back to Ghost, Aliens and Beyond in season 2. Simon's laughing his head off, and if you want to see why, you'll see that right at the end of the episode. Welcome back everyone. Simon, welcome back. How you been?
I've not been too bad, mate. Not been too bad. I just like I've had to just wipe a tear out of my eye because I just didn't get me like going. So really, please stay to the very end and watch that. That's hilarious.
Quite frankly, guys, we're mucking up for the first time in a long time.
That's why it's so funny.
So, how's work going and everything up your end?
Well, it seems to be calming down a little bit. I'm putting it down to it coming up to the tax year. It's the end of the tax year now, so everyone's got to pay the taxes. And where I deliver, there's a lot of self-employed, so I think they've got to pay the tax bills.
Oh,
so they're not spending as much money.
Bit hard for me right now. We're as from March, we're having a new wall put up. We're moving our kitchen in our building all together. There's going to be a lot of builders coming in. We're obviously going to have a COVID test before they walk in and everything. But as for me being the man who walks around the office, once I get in and leave, I don't sit at a desk. I'm in the workshop, in the office, and everywhere. It's going to be harder for me than the rest of the staff to keep away from them. But you know, I'll get on with it, and hopefully with the news we got from Bojo himself that my vaccine, I'm the next in line after this phase of people. I mean, my tiny age has gone on my side instead of against me. And hopefully, as I said before, we'll get everything back to normal as soon as possible for people. And not just a cheap plug, we can all start going on holiday. And while we're talking about holidays, I've started a new YouTube show. It started as Epic Shows. It's now called Epic Phil. I review basically hotels around the world to give you an idea where you want to stay once we can go again. So I've done 3 so far. They're out, so check them out. But that's on a different network. We'll be showing up on Epic Shows on YouTube eventually. But right now, that's just on Epic Phil right now. But basically, we talk about the hotel. We watch a YouTube video about the hotel. We read a few reviews on the hotel from TripAdvisor, Google Maps, just to give you more of an idea about the hotel. But we're not here for that. We're here for supernatural, spooky stuff.
But while he's saying we, it's not me and him. It's just him on his own.
Same we. And right, Bermuda Triangle we're talking about today.
Yes, the infamous Bermuda Triangle.
Yes, the infamous Bermuda Triangle is between apparently Florida, Puerto Rico, and obviously Bermuda. I couldn't even say the word properly, people. I can say Bermuda.
Bermuda is. I know we're supposed to do some research, but I'm doing a supply. Let you know. Bermuda is still part of the UK, I believe.
Is it?
It used to be a UK island. I know that.
Wow, that's fantastic. If it is, I wouldn't mind visiting that.
I'll double check.
Yep, you can double check that, and why he's double checking, I'm going to bring something up. Christopher Columbus, October the 11th, 1492, people, on the Santa Maria boat. Obviously, he saw a fireball. Apparently, now I think that fireball's more likely a meteor coming down to Earth at the time, and obviously back then they didn't really know what that was. But he also apparently said, well, I don't know where this is. It must have been wrote somewhere back in them days. Compasses would not work. They would just constantly spin and spin. So they would lose direction and where they were. I'm hoping back then they used to use the stars. Like if it was a cloudy night, they're stuffed. But with stars, I think they could get themselves out of trouble by navigating by the stars.
Yeah, but they also used to use tides as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
In the olden days, you had the tides and the stars together. So if they didn't have the stars, you had the tides, and if the tides weren't working, they had the stars. Yeah.
But he also apparently he saw red floating balls over the sea. What I cannot explain that one whatsoever.
It could be depending on what time of They say nighttime with that.
No, he just said, I never saw anything said about it. It was just said he saw red flame balls. I'm presuming it's going to be nighttime because you're more likely to see it at that time, aren't you?
But it could be reflections of the moon or with the sun, because the sun sometimes does turn the moon red.
Also, fishes. Some
Very
fishes
rare. Yeah.
glow in the dark. So
Yeah.
there is possibilities for that, or maybe he was just drunk.
Maybe. It was called Christopher and Columbus, and he went from Spain. So.
Yeah. Apparently, he likes to.
But that's the port. He sailed from Spain, part British, but asked the Portuguese king if he could go.
Very confused.
Yeah. If that's true, it's true. That's what I've heard. But
there's also the guy who thought he found America, not realizing that it had been found before already.
Well, it's still down as his claim to fame at discovering America for the western hemisphere, the western side of the Earth.
But the interesting thing is obviously the compass part of that. Now, there isn't many stories, but 100. Well, there is loads of stories. People basically quickly explain to you, loads of boats and planes have just disappeared. Bermuda Triangle, no sign of them. Can't find them in the sea afterwards. They're gone. Things like that. And that brings me to 100 years later. The USS Cyclops, basically it sank like this and it was never found. What makes this one interesting is obviously it's more modern times. The captain never issued a distress signal. Neither did any of his staff. Apparently other boats could see it, but trying to get in contact with it, they would just ignore them. What's very peculiar. Well, after it vanished, people were saying around that area around the same time that yet again compasses weren't working. So this compass thing is in the same area again, but it's just these are just a couple of stories, guys. There are so many out there, like airplanes, that what is it now? There's obviously a few answers. We've got the serious answers, but let's go for hypothetical. Aliens? Could that be one?
I personally would say no, because why would they be in a Pacific area? Because, like I say, in the Pacific area is between the Florida Panhandle, Bermuda, which is a British territory, by the way. I found that, and the Greater Antilles, which is over in towards the Caribbean. It seems to be a very small section of the world for it to be aliens.
Funny you say that. Apparently there is other triangles in other parts of the world. Now,
right.
I should have researched properly, but people with
well, like we're doing this but like I said, the Bermuda Triangle that I found, there's reported. That's all I'm saying. Reported of over 50 ships and 20 airplanes that have disappeared. But that's over a long period of time.
Yeah, I think
so.
A few people, like 18 or something, people have survived it as well.
Yeah.
Hundreds. The other option I've got for this, what I can pick up is wormhole. We could take you to a different place or a different time altogether.
Yeah, because was it David Copperfield? He did a trick with the Bermuda Triangle. If you can find it on YouTube, if I can find it, I'll send Phil the link for it. He was standing on a plinth somewhere in Miami or New York, I think, and there was a plinth in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, in the middle of the sea, and he clicked his fingers, disappeared, and reappeared there seconds later.
Ooh, clever trick.
Yeah, but David Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear in front of 2,000 people as well.
Yeah,
so a great magician. If you want to, obviously it's not he's not actually real. Done that, but he's a great magician. Put it that way.
I'll tell you an interesting thing though. Nothing's happened since 2015 in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, nothing's really been reported, has it? Yeah, seems to have.
Last time.
Yeah, but that leads on. That would lead on to the theory that I've got on what is happening in the Bermuda Triangle, which I thought we were leaving. Are we leaving the science stuff till the end, or we're coming towards the end? Yeah, because they do report of rogue waves that happen in that kind of area where they can get 30-meter waves out the blue. But between Bermuda, Florida, and the Caribbean, it's Hurricane Alley It's the prime area for hurricanes to develop in that area. If there's a tropical storm, that could just be just strong enough to destroy a ship. If that's developing right over the top of it. And I'm not being funny, but when things are being destroyed in the on the tail end of a hurricane, you be in the eye of the storm for maybe 30 minutes. I don't think there's going to be much left to salvage. And you're not going to, I don't think you could get a distress signal out fast enough because the radio waves and the magnetic frequencies and the interference in an actual hurricane, because we still haven't tested out what is actually inside of them in the middle of a hurricane. We tested the outskirts, we've tested the eye from the sky, but not on the ground. Really.
Also, there is something else as well, what could be a very simple answer to all this. Apparently, there is a lot of, is it methane gas?
Methane.
Yeah, methane. Now, at the bottom, well, obviously, that can rise pretty quick, and because the density of it can suck.
Yeah, because I think there is a fault line of, if you don't know this, I don't know why I remember this. I remember this from school. There's a fault line somewhere down the Atlantic where it's just a line of volcanoes. And that's one of the reasons why we get the tides. And it's so far down, we haven't actually been able to explore down there. That's why it took so long to find the Titanic when that crashed, because it's so deep. But there's like a backbone, but it's not straight down the middle. It wanders all over, and there's just a line of volcanoes, and literally volcanoes are spewing out. To us, if we saw it from the sky, here we'd see ash and lava and all that, but down there you just see the gases because it's hitting the sea.
Well, the interesting thing is, apparently, they also think the triangle is actually moving. Now, that's probably, as you say, because of the fault line.
Yeah,
like that. So
because the things are shifting as well. The tides shift quite a lot because, like, we us in Britain have the I can't remember which one it's called, but if it's below us, we've got calm weather. When it comes over us, we get hit with storms and all sorts. And then if it's over the top of us, we get different weather, completely polar opposites of what we get. Because the North Atlantic current, that's it. The North Atlantic current. See, weird stuff just pops in my head. But we get the weather from that area, from Florida and New York, over to us, depending on the North Atlantic current comes over. We get the same weather a few, maybe 2-3 weeks later. Yeah. So sometimes some of the storms we get in the UK are ex-hurricanes from the Caribbean and New York and the Carolinas that have already hit there. We get the back end of them because they're being picked up and brought over. So I don't know what was going on about that. But
that's fine. But I'll tell you what, like, before anybody's sitting here probably shouting at the screen now saying about the methane gases, apparently these methane gases can go pretty high when they fly up in the sky as well. So that would also bring the planes down, people. And I mean, as I say, because of the density of it, it will literally, obviously on the podcast, you can't see what I'm doing with my hands. It will make things drop so fast, like an elevator braking, that there would be no time to get a signal out there. Just be 1 minute, they're fine. The next minute, the ship's cracking, the plane's dropping, and they haven't got any time to figure out what's going on. What's very unfortunate. Now, I do go towards the weather, the methane gases route. I think that makes a lot more sense. We all want the super, as I say, supernatural stuff, wormholes and aliens. But I think this is truthfully answered scientifically. This one is. I mean, unfortunately, it's just where the area is. There's too many science things pointing at it saying, look, people, science side, we have answers. Now,
yeah, well, the thing is now we've got the best media tool in the world at the moment. It's in our hands.
Yeah.
Back in them days when all these were being reported, these were, old wife tales. They was just what were passed on from generation to generation. And it could have been that the ship just sank. But then just play a game of Chinese whispers at work or with someone. You tell someone and then get them to pass it around and see what comes back to you. The story completely changes, and that's what it could be as well. It could be just a massive big Chinese whispers from back in the past that's just being reinterpreted and rechanged when it's being retold.
Totally agree with that. Now, people, Simon, you haven't got any more stories, have you?
No.
Right. So we're going to leave this here, guys, to give you an idea. Next episode, I'm going to be talking about something I found accidental. I've been watching the Cecil Hotel documentary on Netflix about that young girl who went missing. You know, you saw her a few years ago in the lift, then she was found dead in the septic tank at the top. Well, there's a game as well where everyone's put with it. I believe it's quite an interesting game. Unfortunately, I've got the wrong YouTube up on my thing to check. I'm on the TF Pod YouTube right now. But if I move back over to Epic Films, why this is doing it, go into my libraries and go to watch later. This is riveting, isn't it, people?
Well,
it's called the Elevator Game. So
never heard of it.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky, and apparently the idea how you do it, what I will explain in the next episode, can take you to another dimension altogether if you get it right. Yeah, people, the next one we are going a bit supernatural, going back to our roots. Simon, got anything to advertise before we go into Pierre and I go to my new guest, who is Julie?
No, just I've got the Simon Says podcast. Simon Says Darts podcast. Idiot. We've also got the Epic Shows on YouTube. Get over there, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe, and just comment. If you don't like if you don't watch everything on the show on the channel, don't worry. Just find what you like. Everything's in a playlist. So you've got this will be in its playlist. Vlogs will be in a playlist. The Epic Florida podcast is in its own playlist. You can pick whatever you want to watch. So follow us on Twitter at Simon and Julie for me, at Simon Says Darts on from a Dart podcast, and TEF Pod for the Epic Florida podcast.
Also, guys, check out the other podcast we're on with Craig and Orlando. Please, that's a travel setting up.
Trip planning.
That's the best words for it. And obviously follow us on Twitter on here at GAaB podcast. Guys, yet again, this does help on YouTube. I know it does. If you're watching this, give a thumbs up, comment below. If you want to know more stuff or you just don't agree with us, put your comments. We're not saying we're experts, but we like to, get involved with people and have a chat with you all. So by all means, listen in, guys. Right, from this bit now, we're going to quickly go for a break, and then I'm going to be back with my guests. So from me and Simon, see you all soon. Or Simon would say normally, if he remembers.
Tatty bye.
Well, I usually say stay spooky, but we'll have that. See you all, guys. Welcome. Hang on a minute. Simon, what are you doing here?
I didn't leave.
You don't do this part of the show, mate. You usually disappear, mate. This is confusing.
I'm comfort.
Okay.
I'll move over if you want.
That's all right. It's all right. If anyone's confused, Simon obviously usually is the co-host with me, as you would have seen in the first part, and usually I do this bit on my own. But today we have his better half on the show with us. We have the amazing Julie, who quite frankly keeps him in place. What's good? So Julie, welcome.
Hello. Hi.
So what I understand is you have a few supernatural stories that you've been told, and
Yes.
they should be quite interesting. So just nice and easy. Just get into the first one now, and then we'll go from there.
Right. The first one that my mum told me, a long time ago, when I'm still at school, my auntie used to live in a house. I don't know if it was near, I can't remember where she said it was. I think it was an old council house, which you can understand can be a bit, eerie and everything. But somewhere in Bolton, that's all I know. She's got 3 kids, who were very young at the time. But in her bedroom, she had a rocking chair.
Okay.
And sometimes my mum's not sure whether she was dreaming or she actually did see something, but she used to wake up in the middle of the night and she could see the rocking chair moving.
Spooky.
With somebody in it holding a knife.
You didn't tell me this before.
Yeah.
Say that
Well, if
again.
it's a vision-
They saw someone with a knife in a rocking chair.
Just sitting
Yeah.
and
Whoa.
rocking in the rocking chair. Yeah, I know. I didn't know what to think. When
I'm getting
told me
I'm
at
getting
first.
poltergeist vibes with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
that's
yeah.
bad.
Oh yeah. That's just reminded me. My mum did say that my auntie did used to have things thrown about in the house. And
Oh,
even the kids at a young age, I think at that age, used to see it as well. Now, what you do hear about stories about poltergeists in houses, and if you've got young children at the house as well, it can have something to do with that. I don't know if you've heard of that or anything.
They do say when they start hitting teenage age.
Yeah, coming up to
Yeah.
young, very young, yeah. But that's just reminded me, yeah, that there was a poltergeist as well. I know my auntie wouldn't make that up.
That's totally freaked me out to see.
Yeah, I know, but like I said, she did have a rocking chair in the bedroom. Now, whether, she sometimes when you're half asleep, you do imagine things and that, but actually to see somebody in it rocking with holding a knife, it's a bit, yeah.
Yeah, because the first thought you have in your head as well at that point is that someone's broke in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
So even if you was half asleep,
well, we did say it was in Bolton. And there's a lot of break-ins in Bolton.
Yeah. Well, but this is back in the 80s, though. This is.
Oh no,
but
in the 80s, you used to be able
then,
to.
I don't know, but
80s, you used to be able to leave your front doors open,
yeah,
didn't
you
you?
did, didn't you? Yeah.
So,
You know what I mean? But when my mum mentioned that they had a poltergeist, things in the kitchen, just you could see things being thrown and moved around and everything.
I would have gone. That would have been it.
Yeah, I don't know how long they lived there for. I don't think we've ever been in that house. Obviously we were kids, so I don't remember. But yeah, they did move. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I think it was a council house.
Be interesting to find out, just to see if there's any more like people put online stuff about it themselves, because or was it attracted to the people who lived at the house at the time?
That's it. Yeah, because you had 3 kids at the time. So yeah, because they do say that when you watch these documentaries and everything, if there's kids come to a certain age, it's something there, isn't it? It's something to do with growing up, I think. And I think my auntie was split up at the time as well from a partner.
We feel
so yeah, I think there might be
children attract.
Yeah,
They're easy susceptible to the.
What is it on the Enfield Haunting or something? I've heard it on other things as well.
You probably find a lot of stuff on it on YouTube as well, actually.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's more to do with their emotions and the height send. So it's sending electric waves out. That's what they try and explain it as, but I'm not too sure how true that can be. So is that it for story 1? Right, that's story.
I think so. That's but obviously I've told this years and years ago.
I just don't see how you're going to beat that.
Yeah,
I don't see how you're going to beat that story. Wow.
Well, you can verify if you want to go back and listen to is it the second one? Is it the second one with me on?
Yes, number 2.
About me being weird in my house.
Oh yes, the house that
she was the one who witnessed it all, not me.
Yeah,
I didn't witness anything because I was out of it. So
yeah, that house that we rented before. Yeah, even my mum said she came in the house just after we moved in. Was she painting the fireplace or something?
Yeah,
I think she came in while we were at work and that. And my mum even she even mentioned to me after, he says there's something weird in that house. She could feel something not right.
And she never set foot in the house again, did she?
She didn't know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but we lived there 18 months. Personally, myself, I didn't, because I've always been into watching Most Haunted and things like that. When it first came out and everything, and I even watched that on my own in the house as well. I was out at work, and I personally didn't. I don't know. Feel anything? I seemed okay. Is that weird?
Yeah, but like saying you were saying I was. Yes, I was coming home from darts, having a few beers, and I was susceptible to stuff. But it happened in that house, and it's only happened maybe once or twice since.
I don't think it's ever happened here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So in 17 years, it's not happened.
Yeah. I've always said that. I think I said to you, people, if you want to check this out, season 1, episode 2 with Simon. I'm sure I said on that episode as well that it sounded like a spirit. It didn't like men.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I for some reason, we'll be in bed whenever you come home from dark, or it's when you work in the club as well. Evenings.
I was working in a nightclub. Well, a working men's club till 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
That's it. I would wake up all of a sudden for no reason, and then I noticed Simon would. Well, I don't know if he woke up or not. He'd get up, he'll get out of bed, and he'll just walk somewhere. I thought he's still asleep here. One time he walked to the wardrobe and opened it up, and then just he's walked to the bedroom window, and then windows in the terrace are very low.
Yeah, so you got
Windowsills
literally
as
the
well.
floor is probably there.
Yeah.
The radiator, so you're talking only 12 inches, and the windowsill for the windows. There were very tall windows with very short.
And
thing, and that's what you panic me.
And what were you doing? But I think he was asleep at the time, and he just looked at me, and then walked back, and then get back to bed, and he's asleep. And he's also gone to the door and walked out.
As you say, he doesn't do anything like that now, does he?
No.
It's just
Never
them.
since we've moved here. No.
Strange.
Yeah, and he was a bit aggressive as well. He didn't mean to be aggressive. I said, look, come back in. But what are you doing? Saying, get off me. You know, just really weird. Yeah.
Wow.
And it freaked me out as well. And then he came back into bed, went asleep as if nothing happened. Do you know what I mean? And then I
still don't have any recollection of it at all.
The next day. No.
How many years ago was this?
Oh, like 19.
Well, we've been here 16 years now.
Yeah, it's about 18 years ago.
About 18 months.
Before there was really good like camera phones and that, because that would have been so interesting.
Yeah, no, I had a Samsung C300 slidey phone. That's how old. That's how long ago it was. I think if you took a picture with it, you literally had maybe 2 pixels on it. It was one of the very old phones.
2005 we moved here, so it was between 2003 and 5, wasn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, but I was in that house on my own some nights, like when we were playing darts and that, and and then when I found out after we moved out, he told me what happened to the person before in the house. I'm glad I didn't know that at the time I was living there.
Yeah, go back to the episode to find out what happened with that teaser, so you've got to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, and what's happened since, we've been with him to your friend as well. Yeah.
Teasers for a past episode, go and listen to it.
But a thing that I didn't like about the house, the stairs were at the back, so you had your front room, kitchen, dining room, but the stairs were on the left, and they were very narrow.
Oh.
Yeah, and you had a door which I had to keep open. At the time, I thought, I don't like this door being shut, because if you went up and down the stairs, you literally had the door shut.
I forgot about that.
Very narrow on the walls as well. I found them very narrow. And that did sort of freak me out a bit, because
the stairs came dead steep down and then turned to the left, so the last 4 steps actually turned, and you had a door before the turn. You could shut the door on the stairs for some reason. Don't know why.
Yeah, that was a bit freaky, but
Right.
If anybody's listening to this show, what was the address of this place? I want to see if anybody listens who just might mysteriously have this drop property.
Well, it was Thorn Street in Farnworth, and have a guess what number?
6, 13.
No, 13.
Oh, so anybody, if you are listening, or if you know someone who lives there, things are happening, get in touch with us about this, because we'd really like to know.
Yeah.
Right, so anything else?
Let me think. Just the school trip one.
Oh yes.
Yes, I was at primary school, so I must have been about, let me see, I think I was about 9 or 10, year before I went to secondary school. Yeah, mid-80s, what I remember. And it's a place in Sheffield called Kelham Island. And it is, what I remember, it's where the main steelworks place is, where they have a big, I don't know what they call it.
Big mills.
Yeah, big mills and everything.
Okay.
Going back 100
I know
years.
they have big steel plants.
Yeah, that's right. It was actually in Sheffield itself, but they have it is a museum as well, and they have a shop, but it is a big industrial place as well, where they have, I think they've got a river around it and everything, what I can remember. Like I said, it's a long time ago. But I have seen reports that it's supposed to be haunted and everything. But they also have a row of houses built going back 100 years, how they used to live 100 years ago. So you could actually go into the house and see what they look like back then.
Ooh, that would have been interesting.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, that's still, they still got them now, aren't they?
Still there, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
put it up there. I'll definitely go and do that. That sounds very interesting.
And then I remember, obviously we were kids at the time and we used to wind each other up and everything, but you just got an eerie feeling, even in the houses. I know because it was something different and it was old, but it was like literally your living room, a little, not even a proper kitchen downstairs, stairs, and then your bedroom upstairs and your bathroom outside kind of thing. But they were just, I don't know, they're just very eerie.
I can imagine that
Yeah.
how that would feel, especially to a 10-year-old as well.
Yeah, roughly about 9 or 10. But yeah, I remember because the school was just outside Sheffield and we got a bus. Remember the coins that you used to use on a bus? We used to go on a bus and you pay and put the coins in these slot things and they gave you a little ticket. Yeah, and about 2p. We went, yeah.
Them houses remind me of my nan's house back in Woolwich, London. That house must have been over 100 years old. Every time I used to go there as a child, I hated the house. It was like dark all the time. Always felt cold.
Yeah.
You know, in that old bones feel. It just, didn't feel right being there.
Yeah, it was like my great grandma's house in Watford when we used to go and visit terraced house. But it was a smell as well. I know it's old people, but the smell of the house, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like an old smell, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that like you're on about that musty, woody smell?
Yeah.
Yeah, because actually, there's a few houses smell like that on my walk at work as well. And they remind me of my grandma's house on Worsley Road because they were built at the same time. They're all Victorian houses, and they've got that distinctive smell. I've always put it down to be my nan's house.
Yeah.
But is it my nan's house or is it a supernatural thing? And it's actually a smell for that kind of thing. I don't know. Because I know when you're saying it, then I know exactly what the smell is.
Yeah.
And it's distinctive of thing. And things have happened in my nan's house because remember my auntie Carol told us about it. My auntie Carol moved in after my nan had died, and I mentioned it on that previous episode about me seeing my nan in the house. She also saw, was it Adie's dad?
Oh, I don't know.
Whoever she was with, he was stood at the end of the bed talking to her for half an hour.
Ooh.
And
wow,
that was
Simon snuck one in himself.
well, it just popped back then because remember we were talking about with thinking my auntie Carol went. She actually went and got a medium into the house. She got people, got the house blessed because she was terrified.
I can imagine that, yeah.
But she grew up in the house all her life, and she was a goth, but she still got it. When eventually she saw the light, as they say, and then she just went into that kind of phase where everything terrified her. And now she's got 6 dogs.
Maybe she saw something she can't remember.
Yeah, maybe. But she's nothing's going to happen now because she's got 6 dogs and a Labrador. Was it German Shepherd, Saint Bernard crosses, and 6 of them.
Can you believe tries to get in that house?
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's me. I've never personally seen a ghost, to be honest with you, even though I am interested. I've never actually. No, it's weird.
You're not skeptical.
No.
I don't know. I don't know what you feel. You have said to me
ghost stories and everything since we were at school and that, and yeah, but I've never actually experienced anything. No.
So do you look for the skeptical side of it, or
as well? Yeah. I think
you're
so.
neutral.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's why I like watching Most Haunted and programs that, and then the Enfield Haunting, the original documentary one, which I don't know if you've seen or not, because I do remember that. That was.
Is that like the house up your way? I think looks rubbish, Simon.
What?
That house.
Enfield Haunting, was it? That's down south.
It's down south.
Yeah, it's down south. The Enfield Haunting. It's
about, that house you were showing me up north on your rounds. I said I didn't like it. I can't remember what that house is now.
No.
That really old house, and I said I like modern.
Oh yeah, the one that looks like Amityville, the one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Haddon, you like that house?
Oh right, yeah.
It looks like it's got a face at the side of the house. Great.
House. Maybe you should buy it.
Well, if he had a spare 3.5 million, I would. But...
Well, unfortunately, I can't give you the money because someone in Europe won 180 million.
Yes,
I know. I noticed earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that all the stories, or is there any more?
I think that is it, really. We obviously told a lot of ghost stories when we were kids at school, but nothing
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like you did, you used to make things up and everything.
Yeah, and you'd hear stories and sort of like what have ancient stories, what have gone through families, what are just
Yeah,
you know, like the white lady. Everywhere has a white lady, it seems.
yeah. Ours was a grey lady. Did I say
Ooh.
grey lady or white? I said, was it grey
No,
lady or
I
white
don't know.
lady? It was one of them.
I think,
Round
it's
fields,
I think,
round.
I think you
not
mentioned a
far
grey lady.
Grey
But
lady, yeah. Yeah, on our school route home on the bus round some fields. Apparently, it's been seen. We've never seen it, but I have looked up that area, and apparently there has been sightings of a dog on that road.
Ooh.
So this is just outside Sheffield, Ranashaw it's called, I think. Yeah, but I don't know how true that is. It's probably just stories.
I would love to see
Yeah.
a ghost dinosaur.
Yeah, yeah.
a ghost
A
dinosaur.
ghost dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah, I think
I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's the only. That's the second time you'll ever hear me singing.
Unfortunately, it's on the show. Well, Julie, that's it.
No. Yeah.
If that is it, though, thank you very much for coming on. I know this wasn't the easiest thing for you.
No,
Yeah.
I'll try. If I can't think of anything more in the future, I will do.
Always come
I
back
did
on.
mention to Simon about you do UFOs as well, don't you?
Yes.
There could be a little story on that where I used to live, but like I said, I was a kid at the time, and it could have been just an imagination. You know what I
I'll
mean?
tell you what. Do
Yeah.
some research.
I have done, but I can't find anything
Oh.
because where we used to live, that part, I'm not saying it was well known for UFO sightings, but I don't know, back in the 80s, I think people thought they did see something down that area where we live.
Simon, maybe you can have a look online yourself as well and see if you.
Yeah, I'll do some digging in the area, and then if I find anything,
But I've not
we'll
can't
get you
find
back on.
anything.
For,
You always hear stories, don't you?
Yeah.
Things going on.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to go into the dark depths of the internet to find these stories these days.
Do
Yeah.
not go on the dark web.
Yeah, don't go on the dark web. Go into the dark side of it, but not the dark web, because that's a different story, and that's a completely different podcast.
Well,
Maybe
this is
not, mate, because that is quite scary, the dark web. Well, as I said, Julie, thank you for so much for coming on, and we'll definitely have you back on for your UFO story once Simon's done a bit of homework for you. Simon, thank you for actually coming on this part again. I know it's very rare for you to do this part.
I know.
And do you want to quickly plug anything?
Yeah, it is just our Twitter, which is just pops over my shoulder every now and then. If you're watching on YouTube, it's at Simon and Julie. I've got my podcast, which you know about, which I've mentioned many times. Simon Says Darts. It's called now. It's not Simon Says Darts podcast. It's Simon Says Darts. And obviously our other one's called The Epic Shows.
Great show that one is. Don't know who's on that.
No, I don't. I seem to do it with somebody else, and I can't think who.
Well, we are the Ant and Deck of the podcast world, it seems now. We're everywhere
Well, yeah,
on
we seem to
everything.
be. Well, you know, we're branching out on our own for other stuff as well, but they don't usually do that stuff, do they? So.
Well, they did once one of them got in trouble, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, I'm not the trouble one.
Everybody, thanks for listening or watching. Follow us on Twitter at GAaB Podcast. Check out the After Dark Podcast Network Army on Facebook. And from me, Simon and Julie, see you
guys. Bye.
Thank you for watching or listening to another great episode of Ghost, Aliens and Beyond. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GAaB Podcast. If you have any supernatural stories you'd like to share yourself, email us on ghostaliensandbeyond@gmail.com. And remember, grab the popcorn, turn the lights off, and prepare to be scared.
This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.
Speaker, no. Look on the other side.
Speaker AirPod.
There might be a ghost on the other side.
There we go.
Actually did really well there, mate. You can tell she got
What makes you say that very much?
This is it. The time I know it's a
Oh,
rain.
she,
What, he made some weird noises. That's like,
What the hell? I'm the one who usually hates the mic, not you.
hi all,